I'm Per Sydin, and I'm the CTO for Proact in the Nordics, and I'm going to be running this session together with Paul Bates from UK, who is a director of our managed cloud services. And the theme of today is around how you can secure, protect, and of course recover your data. We're going to run some slides. You are able to use the chat window to ask questions, and we will probably pick them up at the end of the Q&A session. At the Q&A session, you can also use a raise your hand function, and Susanne helping us with this session will make sure that you're able to speak to us directly. So we probably go around like maybe in total half an hour or so of presentation, a Q&A session for as long as you like before we wrap it up, and we can certainly share the slides, the content of today. So let's see what's on the agenda. First, I'm going to be speaking the first half of it, talking about what is changing. Why is backup and recovery kind of still something we need to address and think about. And the second half, we're going to talk about the services that Proact provides around protecting and recovering your data. We're certainly integrated, so we can of course help you build whatever you need for your specific situation. But also we see more and more that backup and recovery, data protection is an area where you might need some assistance, someone complementing your skills and actually in different flavors, running it, operating for you, offloading some of the work for you in your day-to-day IT operations. But a little bit, on the background. I mean, I'm one of the co-founders of Proact, and when we started a couple of decades ago, backup was one of the hottest item on the table. We it's going from local tape drives with a couple of gigs, which was fantastic capacity in those days. You scripted, you had one on each server. You went to consolidate the backup, bringing tremendous value doing that transformation. We saw the amount of service growing. We saw a lot of innovation in the storage arena when it comes to replication, snapshot. We saw integration with the applications, also kind of transforming once again backup and recovery a decade ago, a little bit more than a decade ago. We saw starting, I think almost 10 years ago, the whole idea of virtualizing your server environment, and this kind of once again brought some new challenges to your to your IT environment, but certainly putting a lot of pressure on your backup. And so it's kind of some customers ask, I mean, Per, you've been doing this for 20 plus years for us, and now we need to kind of redo it again. Well, I guess, and was it a bad solution? And I said, no, I don't think so. It's more like the world is changing, and I guess what it keeps changing, and I guess it kind of keeps changing perhaps even faster than ever before. And this is fundamentally, if you talk on a high level, this is fundamentally very, very positive. I think IT is more and more perceived as very, very important for the business. The numbers you see is from a recent IDC research in Europe. So it's kind of European numbers, not the US numbers. And they asked, business leaders and IT leaders, what about this digital IT using digital technologies, call it digital transformation, whatever you want to call it, is that important? And they all said, yes, it is. It's very important because we think IT used in the right way can bring value to our company, our shareholders, brings us more profit. It gives us keeps us closer to our customers. It makes us much more differentiated in the marketplace. So the perception of IT is I think more interesting than ever before. Because there are even business people, I say even business people, I hope there aren't too many on the call, we can use IT to change our process, change our business model, if we can provide them the right set of tools with the right flexibility to our users, we're able to create new services much faster than before. And we are able to reach out to you as a user on your desktop or on your phone, to bring even more value. So the whole idea that we can use IT for more things, we can use new types of IT solutions done ourselves or maybe in a combination with external services, can make our unique mix of internal, external IT more unique in the marketplace. And at the end of the day, give a better service if you're in the public sector, bring a better service to your people in your country, or of course, as a private business, at the end of the day, bring in more money, be more effective, make more money. So there is a fantastic drive in the marketplace around IT. It has a backflip, of course, but we come to that one, But fundamentally, IT is extremely important and more than ever so, And the consequence is kind of a little bit, and everyone wants to be an IT expert. Everyone wants to have an opinion about IT, For a CIO, you still have, you have your compliance, you have your SLAs, you have your regulations, you have to keep control of everything. But also you need to be able to understand, how you can use IT and support the business even better. For IT managers, even here, you need to be able to control not only your internal system, which might, be a challenge itself, but also, external services, brought in by IT or not. There is data being generated, created, stuff being made internally and externally. And of course, this adds some new complexities in how you can actually secure and protect and if the worst happens, to recover that type of data. When it comes, on the right-hand side of this slide, business, faster, more flexible now, that's what you're looking for. We want to bring whatever ideas we have into the marketplace much faster. We want to bring innovation and align, with the line of businesses is developers. And we see developers, it's kind of, you're still going to be use your legacy type of applications. They're not going away, but you're also seeing more and more your own application development in-house for you specifically. And I'm coming back to that one because this kind of puts another pressure on your infrastructure and the way you protect your data. So the developers, creative, fast, and they might, and their objective on the right-hand side is to get things done, get things out there, really fast, flexible, a lot of change, So developers are a creative, clever bunch of people, Sometimes, maybe not following the rules and guidelines and the policies, but they want to get stuff done because they drive from the business side, So this is also in fundamentally positive, but it also, brings with you some complexity, this stuff, So, but if you look at this is from the same IDC research from this year in Europe, If you look at, people who are successful in their line of business, in their part of the market, whatever you are in manufacturing, as a telco, making cars, whatever you're doing, as selling services, the successful and the leaders in this, more creative, flexible use of IT, this digital transformation, are using hybrid clouds. They're using combination of internal and external resources. And you can ask yourself, what's the mix? Well, I think the mix is kind of the secret sauce. The mix depends on specifically what you are doing as a business, how is your market working, But there are clear indications and actually facts saying, if you are using the mix of internal and external, you are in the front. You are more successful, actually even more effective than the people, not really doing this. And the thing that you need to do here is find your right mix of internal and external IT resources. And of course, this is really cool. It might, make the protection of data and the restore of data, more complex. And we're coming into a little bit more detail onto that one. I will just give an example, how this can look like. This is from a real case. I can't tell you the customer. It's a public sector customer in Sweden. I was heavily involved in that one. And they went from a kind of a legacy environment, a lot of manual processes, a very skilled, very official organization. But they said, we need to be much more agile. We have they had a lot of in-house development, and they could potentially see the developers going externally because internally the processes were not bad, but they were too slow. So we said we need to automate this. What we did is actually we built a complete private cloud for them, so they could. Initially, the developers could access all their internal IT resources from a self-service portal, everything virtualized, everything automated in the backend. Part of this was also not the initial first step, but the second step was, of course, how can we protect this data? Because now we can deploy really fast, really flexible, but how can we actually protect the data? And what we did is that we took the legacy backup application and we integrated that one using open APIs, REST API calls into their flexible, automated private cloud. So we were able to put data protection into this one. So you took a combination of some of the new stuff, a lot of legacy equipment, and you took the legacy backup application, and you make that part of this flexible delivery model towards the business. So initially, developers, next steps when protection is being even more important is that they will put more or less all IT on this portal, and the users can consume any type of IT resource internally. And of course, as soon as you leave, the development stage and go into production, protection, recovery of data is all critical. So this is kind of a way that we see a combination of legacy systems kind of being integrated into new stuff and make really good value. Quite technically complex, but it was a kind of a runaway success to combine, the new and the existing solutions into this private cloud with included data protections. You can actually, and you have the choice here, in the portal, you are sometimes always mandatory to always have data protection, period, for certain types of workloads. Certain types of workloads you're actually allowed to choose if you need it or not, and that's more like, pilot cases, not production environments. So you can have the choice, and they can control it through policies and through this automation engine. So that's one example of how this kind of see data protection changing and morphing into something different, more exciting, but potentially more complex. This is probably one of the hottest topics in the market at the moment. This is my view of something called DevOps, because if you talk about applications and application development, and all the numbers say that all businesses, private and public, are developing more of their own applications. You will say, but can't I buy it off an external cloud? Yeah, you will. But this is not your traditional standardized SaaS applications. This is not Salesforce. This is not 365. This is applications built for your specific business with your in-house developers, or you buy in resources. And the whole idea is here, flexibility, speed, changeability. So if you look at the agile software development layer, the top layer, this is an iterative process. How many changes do we have? If you look at your backend database, maybe you change it every year, every second year, your ERP system. This is, new releases on a daily, sometimes even hourly basis. They might be connected to backend systems, so it's quite complex technically get the whole data protection scheme working. But this is so interesting. And if you look at what do you need to do at the backend and the private cloud, I showed on the previous slide is you need to virtualize, you need to automate, you need to provide self-service of all the infrastructure resources to be able to enable this type of flexibility, speed, way that you can rapidly deploy, test, redeploy, make changes. So it's very different, from the way we've done it in the past. And of course, just imagine, the data protection complexities going from, few changes on a monthly or yearly basis to releases, several releases every day. I talk to corporate customers. They might have 20 releases a day. It's not just the Spotify, the Facebooks, the Google. We are seeing this happening with regular, or kind of what I say, quote, normal type of enterprise customers. They have this as well. The traditional applications are not going away. They have this as well. And from a data protection perspective, this provides some interesting new challenges, And if you look a little bit more into the application, because at the end of the day, I think it is applications that matters. I mean, applications is why have we designed, infrastructure and backups the way we've done for the last 20 plus years. It's because the way applications behave. So if you look at on the left-hand side, those are your Microsoft, your SAP, your Oracles, and they're not disappearing. I think the arrow to right is kind of wrong, and they are staying in place, and they try to change as well, of course. But on the right-hand side, you have a new set of applications. So this is the stuff that with inspired from public cloud. They are being developed using in-house competences or competences you buy in, and these are the specific, cloud-native type of applications, and they are in many ways different. They have this change rate, they buy the microservices, Docker type of development tools. They have this, fantastic rate of change, and they have most likely a lot of open source components in there as well. And this is something you as CIO, IT manager, IT operations manager, IT specialist need to handle as well as the stuff you had for decades. And this is really cool. And if you look at an enterprise customer, if you are someone like Spotify, a really good customer of ours, you develop everything from ground up. You don't have any legacy. If you look at an enterprise customers where you have been doing IT for many years, you will most likely integrate some of this new stuff into your backend services, like ERP system in the backend, or some database, or some inventory. So it's probably going to be a combination of your legacy and the new stuff, which makes it cooler but also more complex. And this is something you need to protect. And sometimes we hear from the public cloud, the inspirational for this whole movement is that, we build data protection into the applications, the new applications. I will say that happens, but rarely, because developers don't have, protection of data, recovery of data on the top of the list, So this is an area that need to be addressed as well. So, but if you kind of take a step back, what is it all really about, and when you have all this, the stuff you had for years, decades, maybe not centuries, but at least decades, with the new stuff, if you take a step back, what is, and this is, this slide I've been using for, 20 plus years in different iterations, but there is some basic stuff you still need to ask yourself. And have an interesting, I was just talking to, last week, a Web 2.0 type of company. I can't reveal the name, but it's a high-profile Swedish company, and they were going to protect some Cassandra databases on the Google Cloud platform. And I asked them, these questions, and they haven't really thought about it, because this is kind of old school. But if you look at this is kind of basic. And this is, the first is kind of called, the recovery point objective. How much data can I afford to lose? And the immediate response would be nothing, obviously. And I would say, well, it's kind of possible. We can't, all scenarios is hard to protect yourself against, but it's a matter of cost versus, So this is the one. I mean, how much data can we afford to lose? How much data we're willing to invest in this solution? And that kind of drives some of the technical designs that you need to do. The second one, of course, is how long time can I accept, being offline before I kind of recover? And the immediate response will be, no, nothing. Well, of course, it comes with the cost, so that if you have the cost aspect, there are probably going to be some types of negotiations, some compromise. We Swedes love compromises. It needs to be compromise here, I think. Because everyone says nothing, no time, no, that's probably not unrealistic, and no downtime, no data loss ever anywhere, that's hard to guarantee, but of course they have it as an aim. Then it's a very important piece that might be sometimes forgotten, if I have a scenario where I have a problem, data is lost, I have a virus attack, whatever, how can I make a decision when I will start to do recovery? And this goes back to, your processes and your tools, and how easy it is actually to understand what happened, and very quickly analyze and take a decision. Okay, I have a problem. We have a problem. We need to go back 1 hour in time, and recover data from that place, And this comes down to, the efficiency, but also the simplicity of the tools. And I think Paul is going to come a little bit back into how we think we can help with this part. Because it is, if you can't make a decision, you're not really sure what happened when you lost data or when your data was infected by some type of malware. You're in trouble because you don't know what to do. And so that is something, sometimes forgotten. So this is kind of the whole, 20 years plus, old school, but it's still valid in today's environment because it's very basic, it's very simple, but it's a really good starting point for discussions. So this is kind of before I let Paul in, this is kind of my final slide, because if you look at, you have the different types of cloud on the left-hand side, and if you look at the hybrid cloud, you as an organization, public, private, whoever you are, you will most likely have a mix of all three. You will have your internal infrastructure. You will try to automate it more, make more flexible, more efficient, but also more agile towards the business. That makes it more complex to protect. Because you have much faster change rate. If you're starting to use, a Docker type of environment, internally, you have even more changing environment that needs to protect. You will, and Proact is one. You will most likely have local service providers, and we will show you some of the things we have around the data protection space today inside Proact. You will most likely have local service providers that provide specific services that need to be in your country, need to be close to you. They need to be able to talk to us. You're going to be using that one, and of course you will and probably are using the public cloud as well. And it could be used as a software as a service, and I think a popular one in my part of the world is things like 365 from Microsoft, SharePoint, the whole Microsoft Azure software as a service. Speaking on that note, we had a user conference a couple of weeks ago, and I had several customers saying, we have problems with things like 365. We lost data. And I said, okay, so what happened? Did Microsoft screw up? And I said, no. Microsoft, they kept their SLAs. The problem was, of course, that we didn't really understand Microsoft SLAs, and their SLAs are different from an internal SLA for protecting and recovering data. So we had a mismatch, and we're seeing a lot of discussions, can we make an extra copy of our software as a service data, doing into, Proact data center, into your own data center. We're seeing a lot of those discussions just to be in the safe side and making sure that you follow your SLAs for protecting and recovering data. And sometimes you want to have a copy in your specific country as well. That depends a little bit on the country, but here goes. So you have these, legacy applications. You have your SLAs, your security, your compliance, what your CIO and your security people care about. You have the new application, the flexibility, the agility. You have these type of external services of different flavors. They are bought with or without the approval of internal IT. Be sure that's happening. You have new data formats. I was talking about this Web 2.0 company, which is running, Cassandra databases. A very different animal when it comes to how you actually protect and recover data to that one. So that's cool. We are seeing the rise of analytics. The same company doing Cassandra has the largest Hadoop cluster in Europe. And the interesting thing here is if you look at the core data, their analytics data, the logs of all the users are doing, all the item logs is 10 times bigger than their internal, core data, so it's kind of interesting. How do you protect that one if you do it, I haven't touched too much, of course, Internet of Things, depending on what line of business you have. IoT in the car industry, huge, but in all areas right now. And we talked about, this, just if you look at your own data center, if you virtualized, you're automated, you have self-service, you have a much bigger flexibility than you ever had, and that's very positive, but it puts some strains on the way you can protect and recover data according to your SLAs, So this is really cool, and that's why, we keep coming back, is backup ever fixed? And, after 22 years at Proact, we'll say, probably not, because the requirements are changing all the time. And I think with no further ado, I'll hand it over to Paul Bates to talk about, how we as Proact can help to offload some of these tasks, when it comes to the services we have around protecting and recovery data. So I think with no further ado, Paul.
Great, thanks, Per.
And I will, for simplicity, I will switch slides for you. So just let me know.
Thank you. So just as means of a quick introduction, my name's Paul Bates. I've been with Proact for 8 years, and my role is I'm responsible for the managed services that are the business we call MCS, Managed Cloud Services, within Proact. As a very quick introduction, not all our clients know about how mature we actually are in the managed services space. So as a quick introduction, I'll just cover a bit about the managed services business over a few slides. So we've actually been delivering managed services, cloud services for over 8 years. And we're delivering services from 15 countries, but we're operating and delivering services globally. So we're delivering services in the US. We have assets on the Apple campus in the US. We deliver to Hong Kong, China, India, delivering services globally. And again, what not a lot of people know about is in our own right, we actually are behaving now as an enterprise, that we manage over 70 petabytes of data, and we actually manage tens of thousands of servers. So what is absolutely key for us is that we're helping our clients and complementing our clients by delivering the right managed services for the right use cases. So Per, if you could just move the slide on one. Our product philosophy is what I would hope you'd agree is quite straightforward. Our philosophy for creating products is they need to be simple. They need to be simple to design, simple for our clients to understand what they deliver. They need to be very, very predictable. And by that, I mean things like cost modeling. We see an awful lot of our clients moving to public cloud where they think they've got a predictable cost model where the costs actually get out of control quite quickly. So our goal is to make sure our charges and models are very, very predictable for our clients. As you would hope and expect, all our services are built at an enterprise class level with a high quality of service. And we offer our customers very meaningful SLAs. So our SLAs aren't about ping, test, and response times. It's actually aligning to the SLAs to the service. So things like recovery initiation, availability that actually means something for hosted services. The other thing that is key to us is flexibility. So contractually, we have our contracts are very mature, but also very flexible. But our deployment options are incredibly flexible as well, and I can cover that on the next slide. So flexibility. Our flexibility is all about really looking at how we can offer our clients freedom of choice. So we're absolutely not moving away from our core business. So we can deliver services based on CapEx or OpEx. They can be on a customer premise, they can be in a Proact data center, or they can be in a public cloud. If it's in our building, if it's in a Proact data center, we can offer a dedicated or a shared model, and we can offer a variety of management frameworks. So it could just be the Proact provide the support, so a customer would call us to say they've got a problem. We could monitor the environment, call you to tell you you've got a problem and help you fix that, or we can offer it on a fully managed basis. So we really can offer a truly, any of our products, where possible, this is the approach and the methodology that we try and use, offering you true flexibility around management, location, and financial models. So what I'm going to do today is the backup portfolio, and I've actually split the backup portfolio into 2 sections, which is user-centric and IT-centric. Before I cover that, there's a little bit around the backup service philosophy as well. So the key thing is for us, it needs to complement our customers' existing environments. We need to offer very flexible backup services, be that financially, location, etc., as I mentioned before. Our goal is, most of the pain that we see from our customers is around cost of backup, because a lot of people view it as what I would call a necessary evil. You absolutely have to do it, but nobody wants to pay for it. And also, it's also quite often challenging to manage. So what our service is looking to do is simplify backup and recovery, reduce the cost, and reduce the management burden on our customers. So the next few slides are talking about IT-centric backup services. So what I mean by IT-centric, these are the services that Proact will engage and interact with predominantly with our IT staff. So the other portfolio of services we have are around more user interaction. So the first service is probably a service that everybody would expect from Proact. It's storage-centric backup. So what I mean by that, it's services that natively allow clients, our existing clients, to replicate or back up their data using the protocols and the software that you would have built into your existing storage platform. So for our NetApp customers, that would allow you to replicate using SnapVault or SnapMirror back to a Proact data center. We offer the same service for Dell, Pure, Tintri, and a variety of other storage platforms. So, depending on the storage technology used, this can be a one-to-one or a one-to-many basis. So we can offer economies of scale, particularly around products like NetApp, where we can offer you a shared service. All the data for this type of service will be replicated back to a highly secure Proact data center. It would be a managed service, and the SLA would be around recovery success. The pricing model and the approach for this service is very, very simple. It's a cost per gigabyte model. The only charges we apply outside of that are the cost of the communication lines. This has been probably one of our most popular products, because this complements the services or the solutions that we've provided customers over the past 2 decades. Really, if I look at NetApp, which is an area that I've come from, the area that I've sold a lot to in the past, we've helped our customers simplify the backup problem by simplifying the storage problem. So we've helped the customers move from complex backup environments to using things like the SnapManager portfolio. This service just complements that. So we can use your SnapManager, SnapMirror, we can take a copy of that data, and we can store that very, very well in the Proact data center. One service I've not covered as part of this slide deck also will complement this. We can also offer things like disaster recovery as a service. So once we've got a copy of that data across in a Proact data center, we can also offer things like disaster recovery as well to complement this. Disaster recovery is probably another topic on its own where we could cover for about 30 minutes. So, Per, if you can click the next slide, please. Next service is really for customers who don't have one of these traditional storage environments that we've been selling for years, or they've got pockets of data that sit outside the NetApp, EMC, Pure environment. So this is looking at a heterogeneous backup service. So what this basically is it's a software-driven platform that will allow us to back up a variety of different environments. So that could be Windows systems, it can be your traditional data sets around Exchange, Oracle, SQL, SAP, it can be Linux and Unix. But more interestingly, as Per mentioned before, we're seeing a proliferation of data going into the hybrid cloud, and we're seeing a lot of hype around this, but data protection is often getting neglected. So the benefits of this service is we can offer data protection for platforms such as Amazon and Azure. We can also offer flexibility in where that data is backed up. So we can back up, our core platform actually backs up to the same secure Proact data centers, but we can offer local caches in your own data centers, or we can store full copies and long-term retention in your data center. But customers who've made that investment in Azure and AWS, we can also look at using those platforms as backup targets. And we can offer a combination of all 3 of these. So use cases that we're seeing for this is customers who've got very, very small remote locations globally who want to be able to back up locally. So we could maybe back up to Azure or AWS. You could have a very large site that you want a local cache for speed of recovery. So we can back up to your data center maybe for 30 days, and we can then hold very long-term 2, 3, 4 years of data within a Proact data center. So absolute flexibility around where the data is backed up from and where the data is backed up to. This is a fully managed service as well. This offers quite a significant variance from what I would call a cloud backup service. For me, a cloud backup service is literally shifting the management, so shifting the application from being in your data center to a cloud. You still have to manage that platform, and you still have to do all the installations of clients, etc. yourself. The heterogeneous backup as a service product that we have, Proact will be responsible for backing the data, ensuring backup success. We'll be responsible for recovering the data, and we'll be responsible for adding new clients and in-version upgrades of the software platform. To complement that, though, we do offer a portal as well that will allow you as IT users to go in and recover that data yourself as well. So you can either recover the data by logging a call with Proact, or you can go into the portal and recover the data yourself. Again, as with the previous service, SLAs are based on recovery success, and all our pricing is done on a cost per gigabyte basis with the addition of the comms costs as well. So all in all, that offers a very, very comprehensive environment to protect data center services irrespective of where they are and irrespective of where you want to back up the data up to. The next product is what I call almost a backup platform as a service. So the use cases for the previous product is if you need to create, to have almost a greenfield backup platform. So that's replacing your backup application with backup service. Not all customers want to do that. You may have made an investment into, I don't know, you can see on the slide there, Commvault, Veritas, Networker, the IBM Tivoli, and that isn't something you're going to replace. And also you may want to potentially manage that backup environment yourself. So our backup platform as a service allows us to install a cache device into your data center, which would act as a target for your backup. That backup data can then be replicated either to Proact or to AWS. So the benefit of that platform is it's giving you the ability to have a very secure long-term retention of your data outside your building. So we're replacing things like shipping of tapes or shipping your data off-site. And you know that we will give an availability and a response SLA on this platform, and you know that data is stored in a very, very secure location. The benefit of this, as I mentioned before, it's allowing you to leverage the investment you've already made in your skills and also the backup software and backup management that you've already chosen. And again, as with all the products, the pricing is based on a utility basis. So it's a cost per gigabyte and a cost per local cache device that we install in your location if required. To then complement that, so we have other clients who have a very established backup environment, a well-established infrastructure, and very, very happy with the choice that's been made in the backup application. One of the biggest challenges that we have seen in our clients is that management of that backup platform is either not cost effective or is becoming incredibly difficult. So for products, for Commvault, Veritas, and we have a few other products around EMC and IBM TSM in the pipeline, which should be available over the next few months. What we can offer is remote monitoring and remote management of your existing backup environment. So that's taking the burden away from your IT staff and allowing us to manage that environment for you. A monitor platform basically where Proact will let you know that you have a problem, and maybe for your top 5 or 10 jobs, we will restart that automatically for you. Or we can offer a fully managed service where we will be responsible for the entire backup environment. So ensuring that backups have been completed, restarting all your backups, installation of new clients, patching and upgrading the environment. So that would give you almost a backup administrator as a service. This actually complements the previous platform as a service really well. So if you've made investment in your environment, but you want to reduce the cost of getting your data offsite and reduce the cost of management, this complements the backup platform as a service incredibly well. And with management products, our SLAs are based on response time. So if there's an issue, how quickly do we respond to it? And all pricing is, again, based on a utility basis. So it's the cost per asset that we're going to manage for you. The next set of services are, we've actually been delivering these services for a number of years, but there's also a lot of new entrants to the market. So this is looking at, rather than the data center platforms, looking at the user, looking at the data that the users are consuming. So I've got a single slide that captures all of this. So we offer laptop and device-based backup, as you would expect. So that's giving you a service that will allow your users to back up securely back to a private data center. These type of services have been available for a number of years. One thing Per mentioned before is there was Office 365, and we've seen a lot of customers moving some users or even all users to Office 365, be that for email or just for things like OneDrive. The The challenge with Office 365 around backup is that it's typically user-driven. So the users can set and change the backup retention policies themselves, and the policies actually do not give long-term data protection for the user's key data. We're also seeing a lot of what I would call marketing lies in this space, that we're seeing a lot of vendors professing to be able to deliver Office 365 and other things like Box and Dropbox backup, when in effect all they're actually offering is local laptop backup. So unless the data is cached onto a local laptop, that laptop is turned on and we can back it up, we're not actually protecting that environment. So we've got a service that we can deliver that will back up Office 365, Box, Google Documents, Salesforce, and a couple of other cloud-based applications that actually does so by integrating an API level into the back end of those services. So irrespective of whether the data is stored on Office 365 or on somebody's laptop, we're able to protect that data. The great thing about that service is the policies and governance are set by IT, but the recovery, because I'm sure you don't want to be managing thousands and thousands or hundreds and hundreds of users' recovery if they lose a file, the users can self-service recovery. And it's a very, very simple platform that allows the users to look at old versions and just quickly recover the data. Very, very simply, we can offer laptop-based backup or we can offer cloud service-based backup. There's one slight mistake on this. The pricing is per gigabyte or per user. If it's a cloud-based backup service, it's a price per user for things like Office 365, and it's actually very, very aggressively priced service. I think that's the next slide, please. So, in short, the backup services that we offer are that our goal is to complement the investment that our customers already made in their existing environment, but also complement the new world of moving to web-based applications, moving to the public cloud. As you can see, the services are very flexible. We can offer a variety of different services, irrespective of where your data is stored, the management framework, the finance framework, and the governance framework. Our goals, as I mentioned before, are we can run through things like total cost of ownership models with our customers. Our goals are to help you reduce the management burden and reduce the financial burden of actually storing and protecting your data. And of course, all of these services need to make sure that it's simple or simpler to be able to recover your data. And for me, I think that's wrapped up my slide. So I don't know whether we've got any questions at all from any of the listeners.
Yeah, thank you very much, Paul. And Susanne, if you could, did we get something on the chat?
No, I haven't received any questions or comments.
Have you, as I said, you have a raise your hand function, so if you click on that one, Susanne will unmute you, so you can actually ask us a verbal question, so you don't have to type it. So anyone out there having, I think we covered quite a lot of content. We try to make it short and nimble, and we don't want to do it too long on a web session. We can go on for hours and show you all this, but that's probably a customer by customer discussion, of course. References and all of that, yeah, I think we have collected quite a few of those over the years. Anyone typing something or raising their hand?
I don't think so, Per. We haven't received any questions.
No, it either was, I don't know, it was either really good, you covered all the questions, it was really boring, you guys all fell asleep after 5 minutes on me, which I kind of understand, but I know it's a really hard format to ask questions, I see this as a teaser, you have my name, you have Paul's name, and of course you have your local Proact contacts if you know us. And we are willing to, of course, share the slides and continue, a specific dialogue with you guys, wherever you are in the world. I can't see who you are, because I'm kind of just, guessing you might be from different countries. I assume that. So I think we probably, Paul, anything else you want to add before we wrap it up?
No, I think you've covered it well there in summary. I think, for me, I'm more than happy to continue this conversation, be that over a one-to-one call or a meeting. It's an area that I think is becoming more and more interesting again. And I've gone from having 3 backup meetings a month to probably 10 backup meetings a month. So it's an area that I'm seeing causing pain again. So, as you mentioned, that more than happy to continue these conversations in person or via a call.
Great. Well, then Susanna, thank you for organizing this, and especially you guys out there listening to us. Thanks a lot, and we'll hopefully talk to you soon. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.